All right, I'm here with Coach Westberg from Northern Guilford ahead of their matchup this week against Northwest Guilford. And Coach, in your eyes, what do you think will be the biggest key factors in terms of this one?
I think it comes down up front, offense and defensive line, where it always starts. I think we got to win the battle in the trenches tomorrow night.
I know this football team, a big win over Reedsville last week, a loss against East Forsyth. I mean, how would you describe kind of the emotional tilt of your football team right now, kind of what the locker room feeling is like?
Yeah, I think we're in a really good place. I think we realized the mistakes that we made last week and how it hurt us and cost us a game against a really good East Forsyth team. So we've had a really good week of practice. We've been locked in. Nobody's pointing fingers. They understand the mistakes that we made that we got to get corrected for this week to have success.
I know last week turnovers an issue against East. I mean, what have been the things that you've done to correct, the possibility of those mistakes, prevent that from happening again?
I think just taking a deep breath and going back to our fundamentals, ball security, catching the football, no tip balls, putting better throws on balls as well at times. So, it wasn't just one person last week with the turnovers. It kind of was a collective group, defensively, we got to do a better job tackling than we did last week, and our angles getting pursuit to the ball, and those are the things that we worked on this week.
In terms of Northwest, I mean, they're also 1-1, kind of a high and low as well. A big win against Western Alamance to start, lost against Page last week. I mean, in terms of what you've seen on film from them, I mean, what does it look like?
A really good football team. I think they're well coached. Coach Rusevich does a phenomenal job. They're always in the right spot defensively. They got some threats. They got weapons on the offensive side. I think the quarterback's throwing the ball really well. So we got our hands full.
In terms of Northwest, what do you think will be the biggest challenges that they, present for your football team?
Again, it's a rival game, so and they're coming off a loss. So I think we're probably going to see the best out of them so far this season, and we expect that. And we got things that we want to show our best as well this year. So.
I know one of the biggest talking points in terms of the realignment in this area was obviously the preservation of this rivalry with obviously Northern and Northwest no longer in the same conference. How would you describe the talk in terms of this rivalry and, the feeling around campus?
Well, I know when the realignment came out that we weren't going to be in the same conference anymore. I know our athletic directors connected right away and said we're always going to have this game played. It was already scheduled before we even knew what our conference was going to look like. We knew our classification, so they already agreed that we're always going to play this game. So I think it's important to this area. It's important to the school. It's a fun environment wherever you're at. If it's here at Northern or over at Northwest, always draw big crowds. The student body really gets into it, and it's fun and exciting for everybody involved.
I know you've had a connection with Coach Rusevich. I know he was on your staff for a period here at Northern. I mean, just what is the thought in terms of facing him? I know it's not the first time, but the thoughts on facing Rusevich.
Yeah, again, great football coach. He did a great job when he was here. I knew him before that. We coached, we crossed paths when I was coaching at Greensboro College and he was at Guilford College. So I've known Coach Rusevich for a long time, got a lot of respect for him. Again, tremendous football coach, and we got our hands full. He's going to have his team ready.
I know both of these teams coming off a loss. Obviously, you would think for a rivalry like this, the juices are going to be flowing. What is the message for your guys ahead of this game, from an emotional standpoint?
Yeah, and we talk about it week in and week out how to control your emotions. So our kids understand that. Are the juices going to be flowing maybe a little bit more? Maybe. But again, we got to worry about ourselves. We got to get the things corrected the mistakes we made last week, and get back to playing the football that we're capable of.
In terms of your football team right now, I mean, health-wise? I mean, do you have any injuries ahead of this game or anything like
No,
that?
we're good. Just your typical, bumps and bruises throughout the season. We played two physical football games the last 2 weeks, Reedsville and East Forsyth. But everybody's ready to go.
In terms of this team, I mean, guys, the first couple weeks, who have been maybe some of the players in your eyes that have really stood out for you these first couple
Yeah,
weeks?
defensively, Chance Cruz. He's been all over the field both games. Tremendous football player, great energy. He's kind of the catalyst to our defense there. High tackles in both games. Expect the same energy from him again this Friday night.
I know Noah Smith relied on a lot last year, missed a game. I mean, how would you describe his status, kind of what you're looking at from
Yeah,
him?
so Noah practice this week, so he's good to go.
Good to go. All right. So he'll be out there. And I mean, in terms of Northwest, in terms of what you've seen on film, is there anything that maybe surprises you or you weren't anticipating, heading into that film study?
Not necessarily. Playing them the last couple of years, you kind of get an idea of who they are and what they want to do. But they do it well. I think fundamentally they do some really good things. So nothing that's really stood out. Just they got some good players on their side.
I know before the season started, a little bit of talk between who would be their quarterback. It looks like it's been Pharrell Price these first couple games, but I mean, how are you game planning for that situation? What's the mindset from a Northern perspective?
Yeah, always got to be prepared to play both quarterbacks. We kind of understand what Anders will do when he gets in there as well. He played against us last year too, second half. Came out and really kind of sparked their offense. So he's capable of doing that. I think Pharrell's been throwing the ball well for them as well. So, we've been preparing for both, and both are really good football players.
In terms of you this season, are there any guys that in your eyes maybe have been pleasant surprises for you, or maybe guys that are sort of under the radar that have really stood out, made a difference for you?
Maybe defensively, Conachina is a sophomore playing interior for us, has done a nice job. Especially last week, has really progressed from his first varsity game to last week. Offensively, we got Kai Dorsey and playing receiver for the first time on varsity. Tristan Turner, Will Preston, those guys have really stood out for us as well. Our free safety, Lucas Hilliard, has done a really nice job for us these first two games. So those guys that really haven't had varsity reps with us, they stepped in and done a nice job so far.
Are there any players on your team that have really stood out in terms of either their work in the community or overcoming a unique kind of adversity or anything like that?
I honestly can't name anything off the top of my head. I might be missing something. I know our kids do a good job of getting their service hours and doing community service. Typically we'll start going to elementary schools and doing car rider lines here and opening doors for those kids coming up here since we just got back into school. So, we have really good kids that do some really good things for people.
I know last year only 2 losses and both to a couple of the best teams in the state. I mean, when you were entering this season, what was the outlook? What was the feeling for you?
We wanted to build off of last year. We have a lot of starters coming back from that team. We lost a couple key pieces, but we're finding ways to replace them. Like you got to, it's just every year that happens to graduation. We're in a good place. We know how to work. We've been in a lot of situations before. Reedsville game, we were down in the third quarter, and we rallied, come back, and we did that a lot last year as well. So, we're tested. We just came off a really sluggish game last week for us, and I expect us to come out and play better.
What were maybe the biggest differences you noticed from the Reedsville game and the East Forsyth?
Turnovers. I mean, when you turn the ball over 6 times, that's to a really good East Forsyth team. They have a really good defense. It just puts you behind, and I thought our defense played pretty well for the most part to win that football game for us. Couple missed tackles. We got to do a little bit better job of that, but we just can't turn the ball over like that.
All right, Coach Westberg, thank you for your time. Appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you.